What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's episode of First String Podcast, we have wide receiver, NFL, former wide receiver to NFL, Anthony Armstrong joining us today. We will talk about LeBron James saving Team USA again. Teams reported to camp. We're going to rep your squad, and we have an open mic for all of us today to cover any news or things that we may have seen that we need to bring out to you guys. We have a packed show. Lady A's on vacation. Say it's coming in hot. It's me and Al right now, but y'all know we got this. Y'all ready? Let's go.
Artlist.io.
Welcome back to First String Podcast. Do not forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable alert for new content just like this. The most important part is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast. Listen, we do have a show for you today. The Commanders, everybody is checking in the camp. Commanders vets have checked in. The rookies have been there for like a week. Al's been backstage. He's ready to get into it. Al, how are you doing?
Man, good evening. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Pick. Good evening, First String family. How y'all doing this evening?
We doing good, man. Everybody's starting to get into the building as they should. Everybody started checking. We, like I said is sliding in. He coming in hot. You know, we do have regular jobs and things like that. But our guest, Mr. Anthony Armstrong, is here, and he's ready to talk some NFL wide receivers with us. How are you, sir?
What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Everything is good on my side. The rain has been coming through, so the temperatures are down, but the humidity is out of the roof.
Yes,
it is ridiculous. This temperature thing is ridiculous. I sent you the rundown. You got your homework assignment, but before we get into that, the first thing I want to do is say what's up to everybody in the chat. So Bruce Glass is in the building. Bruce always checks in first with us. Don got him the other day, so Don checked in second. And then Lady A, she's not with us today, but she said Bruce Glass is back in the first spot. You know, he's back in his first spot. John Graves said he has arrived. We got Michael Underwood here. He says shalom to everyone. Question of the month. Dr. Don does do question of the month for us, and that's the homework I was talking about with Anthony right there. So we're gonna get into that question of the month for with you for sure. So y'all know how we do. Let's get right to our first block here. Here we go. Questions that need answers, and the first question that need answers is our question of the month. So, Anthony, we need you to name 4 different athletes you wish you could have seen in your prime. Now, you can choose 2 from the same sport, but the next 2 have to be from 2 different sports.
Okay, I like that. Was a good question. Who put that question in?
This is done by our guy Dump Truck Don here.
Really?
He does that the first Saturday of every month. He gives us a question to ask our guests.
All right, I like that question because it had me digging a little bit, had me thinking. So I got a couple wild cards. Number 1, I would pick Gale Sayers because you hear so much about how he was just gliding across the field and was just a problem for the Bears back in the day. So would love to see him playing his prime. And you could obviously go with Walter Payton, but Gale came before Walter. So give me Gale Sayers. Number 2, I'll take Willie Mays. We just like to see how he was out there navigating the field, that the historic catch over the shoulder catch. Father-in-law was like, yeah, that was in a playoff game. So I'm like, okay, so it's a situation that made that catch that much bigger. I would say a redo of Tiger Woods. I mean, I was in middle school, high school, experiencing Tiger Woods and his greatness. I would have loved to see Tiger Woods from like a 35, 40-year-old man perspective, be like, this is some, really when you can appreciate some greatness. And then the last one, I would take Jim Brown, but I want to see Jim Brown on the lacrosse field.
Ooh.
I want to see Jim Brown play lacrosse. They say he's the best who have ever done it, so I would love to see that.
I didn't see that one coming. When you said Jim Brown, I'm thinking you staying with football, but you took it to a different sport. You took it to lacrosse. Outstanding list. I do enjoy your list, Anthony. You did your thing right there. Okay, Michael Underwood has said Anthony Armstrong. I remember your 76-yard pass you made. 76-yard pass from Donovan McNabb. Yeah.
I was up against Philly. Don't worry about the rest of that game, Mike. That was that game on Monday night. We don't worry about the rest of that. But that was a good play, though, man.
I was actually. Is that the pepper spray game? I was actually at that game.
Oh man, I just know that game started off with a scuffle at midfield, and then next thing you know, Michael Vick threw that ball so far.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I must commend this man. He has a wonderful list pick. You know, two of those guys were on my list as well. So I can tell this man has exceptional talent and thoughtfulness in his picks, being Willie Mays and Gale Sayers, just for the reasons that he said, man. And the golf thing, being a golfer myself, I mean, I've seen Tiger Woods for the past 25 years. But like you said, a Tiger in his prime would definitely a redo, as you said, man. Would and Tiger would like to see a redo too.
Yeah. Charlie wants a redo as well. All right. Sid is here. He's gonna bring himself in when he's ready. Let's get to what I want to know. I want to know what makes a good wide receiver. Like, I want to put you in the lab, Anthony.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me what makes a good wide receiver. You can build it from the ground up or from the head down. It's your call, but let us know what makes a good wide receiver.
Man, what makes a good wideout is the thing is you can be successful with so many different attributes, right? Everybody doesn't have to be 6'5". You know, everybody doesn't have to run a 4.3. The biggest keys, obviously, you need somebody that's strong-handed, reliable, and they're gonna make a play when the ball comes their way. You know, so those are the main three. But some of my favorites of all time, Randy Moss is at the top of the list, and then in that same breath, Marvin Harrison was on the top of my list. So I tried to model my game off of both of those guys, right? Because just Marvin was smaller, diminutive, but always open on one side of the field. Great route runner. He creates separation for his quarterback. So he was always open. You give me a receiver that can do that, you have a lot of success. I mean, look at Puka Nacua, look at Cooper Kupp, hell, Wes Welker. Yeah, man, them suckers open all day because they can create that separation. So not everybody being fast is just going to be your best receiver. But I mean, look at Mike Evans, right? Big 6'5" guy. He's not the fastest, but he just continually catches passes, makes the tough catches. So give me somebody that's reliable. I mean, if I had to put somebody together and just match up some attributes, I'd probably say like the brains of like Larry Fitzgerald. Larry is a very smart receiver. He played with a lot of heart, a lot of grit. Yeah, I would take the size of Calvin Johnson. I mean, hey, if you got somebody that's 6'5" and can run 4.3, I'll take that. I'll put that out there all day. Another guy that comes to mind, you got to throw the toughness of Andre Johnson. You know, big guy. I mean, that came across a picture of his catch against us back in 2010 over Reed Dowdy. And I was like, man, it sucked to be on that side of it, but that was a hell of a play. And shoot, what else? Quickness and shiftiness. You could think like Santana is super quick like that. Change of direction, guys in the slot like a Wes Welker comes to mind. So many attributes. There's a lot of talented players out there, but yeah, reliability, strong hands, and from there we'll figure out what you can do best.
Okay, say it. You're up. I know you just got in. Player.
You talking about wide receiver wise? Is that what we're talking about?
We talking wide receivers.
Wide receivers. One of the ones that comes to mind immediately is DeAndre Hopkins. D-Hop. He's always been a game changer. Not the fastest, not the biggest, but he always seemed to be open. New Orleans always seemed to have a wide receiver out of nowhere who wasn't very good, but always come out. Thomas, you know, he stayed open. Wasn't the fastest, wasn't the biggest, but he had great hands. Always was open.
He ran great routes. He ran great routes.
That's what I'm saying. You know, you can't discount any of those guys. So I mean, immediately you just have to go. I mean, there are so many. You know, Calvin Johnson. I watched Calvin Johnson at Georgia Tech. Why? He was in Georgia. So the dude stayed open. You know, I mean, you couldn't miss him at all. You couldn't miss him at all. You know, so I mean, you just go from there. I mean, the list is long. Welker, you know, he wasn't the biggest, one of the fastest. He stayed open. It's like every time, how's this dude keep getting open? He keep getting away from people. So you know, you can go down the list. I mean, but like you said, a guy with great hands, a guy who's able to catch that ball in the clutch at all times. And I'm gonna say this: if that young man that Kansas City drafted is that guy who can catch that ball under any circumstance, you know I'm not a Kansas City fan, but wow.
How they let them get faster though? How'd they go pick up two Ferraris in the offseason?
That's a great question, man. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't get it. That's the rich getting richer, man. You know.
And for Buffalo to do it too, that's the other part. I'm like, y'all really finna trade with a team that's gonna continue to knock y'all out for the next 3-4 years?
Been beating you upside the head like you stole something.
Yep. Al, what you got?
Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of things that Anthony said, man. The hands, feet. I think another good thing that makes a good wide receiver that I've noticed is not being afraid of the moment. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like I said, whether it's a simple screen pass or the big play. That's one of the problems I got with. I mean, I love the guy, Stephon Diggs, but I think sometimes in the moment, man, like even last year when they needed him in the playoffs, he didn't come up with the big plays in the big moment. You can't be afraid of the moment. That day he's afraid, but you got to make the routine plays as well as the big plays. And you got to have some dog in you, man. I mean, I'm a Steve Smith fan. I mean, you know, I think you got to have some dog, man, some junkyard dog in you, because, like I said, whether you double covered or single covered, he didn't care, man. He just gonna bite you. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, one of the boys I can't stand, who always had a lot of dog in him for me, was Santana. I mean, like I said, anytime he played Dallas, that dog came out. I mean, like I said, he was a Dallas killer. I remember going to games and all over the place, and he was, man, like we was catching years ago. I mean, that game he caught, it was 13-6 the whole game, 13-7 the whole game.
Bang, bang.
And he caught that 14-13 with that, and I had to walk out that stadium with a whole bunch of Redskins fans with my tail tucked between my legs. But I ain't preaching that. But I'm not going to digress. Let me get back. But a lot of those things, man, I think. But I got a question for Anthony. Who do you like in this year's young crop of wide receivers?
Man,
the Neighbors, Worthy, like you said.
Man, you know, I think it'll be interesting to see what Neighbors does up there in New York. I think he's a little hamstrung because of his quarterback situation, because you don't know what's going to happen there. So it may not be this season, but he's going to have a breakout at some point. You mentioned Worthy. He's just in the right system with the right quarterback. There was a play they showed on social media yesterday, and it looked like a trick play. It was like, how did he roll this way, flicked it back that way, and then out of nowhere the guy comes in and catches it. So you got to know that he's always going to be a possibly open. But one guy who could be make some plays this year is Keon Coleman. That fell up there in Buffalo, right? Yes. Bigger dude, and he's got that dog in him. You know, he kind of gives me that Mike Evans vibe. And he'll play well off of Gabe Davis. Now you have two twin towers out there in Buffalo, and I think that his body type is probably better for Buffalo and for that weather, and kind of for those reasons you're talking about with Stephon. Love him as a receiver, but a lot of times it's just more of get him the ball quickly and let's see if we can make something happen. Where I feel like Keon and Gabe, they can either go up top, catch a 50-50 ball, or maybe they can take a slant and house it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I got a question for you now. I'm gonna make this Commanders based, but I want you. Well, I got two questions real fast. All right. First, with everybody reporting for camp, tell us your toughest conditioning test and where you did it.
Man, toughest conditioning test. I would say it was in Miami in 2008, and the one reason it was the toughest is because I found out about it like the day of. By the time I got there, they're like, "Hey, you run the test?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Yeah, it's 300s, 300-yard shuttles, and you go 50 yards and back, so it's 3 trips." And for the receivers, it was like 54 seconds, and linebackers, running backs was like 56. And then linemen was like 158 to maybe a 60-second type time frame. And man, I just hung up behind Ernest Wilford and just stayed and kept the pace because I had never ran it before. But then after training for it, I was like, yeah, this one is the realest. That one's a tough one. Dallas, we did like 1060s. That wasn't too bad. We did this thing in college, though. It was a 1040s test. And what you had to do is you ran a 40-yard dash. You had 30 seconds to reset, and you're going to run 10 of them in succession. Ideally, your slowest will be like no more than 2/10 slower than your fastest. I don't know if that was a conditioning test or a workout or what, but that one right there was tough. So give me those 300-yard shuttles when you talk about league conditioning tests.
All right. And the second question is, and this one's going to go to everybody too, like, what makes a good wide receiver room? So let's start off with Anthony Armstrong, right? What makes a good wide receiver room? Like, is it the competitiveness in the room? Is the difference in sizes, the difference in skill set? What do you think makes a good wide receiver room?
I think when a good room is everybody, in my eyes, is helping each other out, right? They understand that for everybody to have success, like the offense as a unit has to have success, or one wrong route can bust up everything. So you have to be responsible for your own things. I think that the best receiver rooms are selfless because they understand, hey, I may not get every pass, but when it comes my way, I got to make my play. Sometimes you have to flush out a safety. I spent plenty of time doing that for some other people to come by and catch wide open passes. So being able to be selfless and not putting yourself above the rest of the team, forcing the ball into your hands. I'm not for that type of activity. I get it where you're like, hey man, I'm feeling good. Give me the rock. But like if it's skewed that way and you can see the dynamics don't work out, that's when you start having trouble. So people get to know each other and they get to be on that same page, right? Like you enjoy hanging out with these guys because if I'm running, I'll just give an example. If the slot receiver's running out and then the inside receiver is running a go and it's cover 2, I need to widen this corner and outside release him so that this out route can tighten up and not get his head knocked off. If I'm lazy at my job out there, somebody gonna get hurt. Now this is a trust thing. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
you got to be there for your teammate. You got to know that even though you're not getting the rock on this play, you're still affecting it for somebody else. So thinking as the goal being the main thing, the goal is to get first down, score touchdowns, and your time will come. So I like a selfless receiver room.
Yeah, that was off receiver. That's from your boy Adams. Adams said my job is to catch touchdowns and first downs.
Yeah.
Oh, say what you got, man. What you think makes a good wide receiver room? And if you need to get a question in after that, you can.
I mean, similar to what he said. Selfless. For me, because we haven't really had one in Atlanta, so I think competitive. I think that similar to what's going on at the University of Georgia, because I compare that. Competitive. You got to have guys wanting to make sure they want the ball. They want the ball. They want the ball. They got to be coming in. I'm open. I see this. Yada yada yada. I seen what you did on the last play. We run it this time, like you said. When you run this play again, I seen him do this. If he do this, kind of shave it to the side, but competitive. We gotta have people fighting for position. We gotta have people who want the ball. We gotta have people that are competitive. That's
especially sorry to cut y'all. It's the competitiveness to say, I want you to make a play, but I'm about to make a play this time. You get what I'm saying? Like if I make a play, I need you to make a play. And then if you make 2, I'm gonna make 3. Like that's a competitive, not necessarily competing to saying, let me take the food off of your plate. Nah, like we all gonna ball. Right. And, when everybody's vibing on that level, now you start to have a lot of fun in the receiver room.
Yeah. You got a question there, Sted?
Let me go. Let Al go first. Now I'll run my question back.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm kind of repeating some and hopefully adding some as well. Like I said, I think that one of the biggest things you need in a good wide receiver room is talent. Because I think iron sharpens iron, man. Like I said, and it has to be a healthy competition. There's no, I don't care how good your camaraderie is. If everybody bad, you ain't got a good wide receiver room. I mean, let's just be real with it. You got to have something, and then you got to have somebody who's. I mean, I think if everybody's on a certain same level of knowledge of the plays, so you know how even when you see something not right in the field, you can fix it on the fly and different things, and you're not having receivers running the same route in the same areas and things along those lines during practice and being able to work together. I think Anthony said selflessness. And another thing, can't be jealous the shit to shine. In a good wide receiver room, man, everybody ain't gonna everybody ain't gonna get 10, 15 targets every game. And sometimes you gotta ride, you gotta ride the hot hand, I think, man. And you gotta have a tolerance for one another. And like I said, and then another that's important, I think, they gotta be complimentary. You can't have all the same thing. Everybody can't be 6'4" sprinters. You got to have a small guy who don't mind going inside the middle, who don't mind sharing, who don't mind doing them tough dig routes, and like I said, then you got a guy who can take it over the top, different things like that. So when you got a good complementary group as well as a good talented group, I think that makes a good wide receiver.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. So in while tell me, offensive coordinator. Tell me an offensive coordinator scheme that you really, really enjoy playing in.
Oh, well, shoot. I had the most success in the Shanahan scheme, just because it was able to allow me to play fast. Right now, I will say this was a young Shanahan team. Now, now said you asked the offense that I played in. You asked which one I played in. I had the most success in that one, right? Now,
true.
Now I say this: since we talk about receivers, there's some receivers that when you watch the tape, they do a really good job. They be in the coaching staff of scheming that guy open, scheming Justin Jefferson to get his targets. Right, like instead of you just standing outside to the left, he's motioning and shifting. Now he's in the slot going up against the linebacker. You're like, how is he timed to match up there? It's not fair. That's just how the game goes sometimes. Now, I could get down with that. I would have loved to have a little bit more of that scheming somebody open to get some certain targets later on down the line. So for me, the coach that I would, if I had to pick an offensive coordinator now, is somebody who's able to make those small in-game adjustments and set some things up later on down the line. Put a little bit of food on your plate, give you a little something just to make you happy. Because hey, if I'm spending time running deep all day, can I get a hitch or something right quick? Just let me get a layup, man. That's all I need, right? I feel good, man. Let me get a hit
for you, right?
Right, I'm running all these 60-yard goals and stuff, and the safety knows it's coming. Let me get something a little easier. That way, I feel like I'm not just running and sprinting all my time. But when you get somebody that can put you in position to be successful, then you're happy to play from. And like I'm cool getting 3 targets because it's going to be 3 of my best, my best routes and the things I do the best. So give me somebody that can make that adjustment on the fly.
I got one for you.
Okay, go ahead.
I got one for you. We always arguing about this, that, and the other on this show, Andy. What would give me your top 5? And I ain't gonna make. I don't want wide receivers. Everybody do top 5 wide receivers. Give me your top 5 duos. Because like we said, wide receiver room.
Okay.
And we want complimentary.
You talking about all time?
No. This is
right
going
now.
on right now. All time is too long to think about. Yeah, right now, going into this year's roster. We'll keep it simple. What you see out there right now? Who are your top 5 duos out there? Can cause trouble that work well off each other.
One that comes to mind. Too, so. That is a good one. One comes to mind is obviously in Miami. The amount of speed that they have, and you talk about scheming people. Like I applaud Mike McDaniel for what he done working with Tua Tagovailoa because we know that he doesn't have the biggest arm. And so now they've just made it where he throws the ball in different windows. He can still work on his timing, and I'm going to get these guys full speed, but you got to hit them here instead of it normally being 50 yards downfield. So very smart thinking to use your players in a specific way. So Miami is one. I think you can't really – can I throw tight ends in there?
Yeah. They catch balls.
They catch balls, yeah.
They catch balls.
All right,
we call it catching tandem. We call it catching tandem instead of wide receiver.
We had a tight end on receiver that was on Netflix.
True. True.
So yeah,
True.
George
That's
Kittle.
true.
Cause see some of them it's almost more than just two guys though. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's more than two guys because like you want to go Kansas City, but KC they've changed receivers every year. It don't matter who their receiver is, so I'm not really
that's
going there.
quarterback. That's quarterback.
That's quarterback, and before it was Hill and Kelsey, and now it's Kelsey and Taylor, I guess. So shoot, who else is a good? They broke up everything in San Diego. I'm interested to see what happens in Chicago because they have a little trio that they're working with Dunze. They got
DJ.
Keenan Allen and DJ Moore.
DJ Moore.
That one's a potentially scary unit. The Jets could use somebody opposite Garrett Wilson.
Yes, they can.
They could use somebody opposite him because I know you asked me the top duos. I feel like there's a lot of guys where it's like a lot of number ones, and they trying to figure out that number two. Like, can Jordan Addison be a number two if he stays out of trouble up there in Minnesota?
Right.
Shoot, you broke up the Stephon Gabe Davis combo.
True.
So it's like all of them are changing now. Like
but you're in the area. You're in the area.
Philadelphia.
Look at Houston's wide receiver.
Who's the other receiver? I don't know if you're missing his name. Oh, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, and who else?
And now they added Stephon Diggs to that. And you hit Miami. You got Jalen Waddle and you have Tyreek Hill. But don't forget about their third wide receiver now is Odell Beckham. So
I'm gonna tell you, we had a guy on here every week from Tennessee. I told you, watch out for that Ridley D-Hop Boyd combination. That's going with in that Callahan offense, and I'm a big Jamar Chase, and I think Higgins is going. And Ty going to do. I think he's getting the raw deal, being put on that franchise tag, man.
Yeah,
Higgins.
T
Higgins. So I think he's going to come out to show and prove this year, man. And they about to get Chase his money, so that's going to happen. So.
Yeah, and don't forget about San Fran as well, because you do have Debo, who is everything for them, and then you have Brandon Ayuk. But then later in the season, their third wide receiver started to show himself, especially during their Super Bowl run to get to the Super Bowl versus Detroit. Detroit secondary, the Detroit secondary was a little bit garbage, which they improved this year. And you haven't mentioned the Commanders yet. How do you feel? That's what I want to ask the question is. I believe that the sophomore slump is real, right? And I think that Jahan Dotson absolutely had a sophomore slump last year. Do you think that him and Terry can have a bounce back year with if Jaden Daniels comes along as a quarterback, leaning on the running game, and then punch you in the head with the wide receivers once you bring the 8-man to the box?
No, I think that they can. I think that you're gonna see them bounce back, and I agree that sophomore slump is something because a couple of things happen. People watch tape. They're gonna watch all 16, 17 games you were in, and they're gonna try to get you to do the things you're not that good at. That's what's first. And then number two, we talk about offensive coordinator and just the positions you were in last year. 65 sacks is not good. No. Consistently behind the sticks is not good. To have to always run deep ends and deep routes, and like that's not going to have success. So being able to see Jahan improve, I think is going to be key to see where these other pieces come from on offense. I would love to put them in the top 5. I think that they have last year it would have been one of those ones top 10 trios, but now you lose Curtis Samuel. You're not really sure what you have after that. You know, there's a lot of signs that it's going to be Luke McCaffrey, and they're trying to use him in whatever way possible. And regardless of how frustrating as it may be, I think that McCaffrey is going to find his way on the field in a lot of ways. As long as he's productive with it, they're going to keep feeding him the football. Is it enough to take away the attention from Terry? I don't think so. I think Terry's still going to be your lead dog. And if IU's going to take this money in San Fran, now you got to start mixing in Ben Sinnott and two-back systems. And I want to see how creative this offense can be to start scheming those other guys open. Because I think McCaffrey can be good, but he's still so young in the position. You know, he's a guy that like he's going to be smart enough for you to put stuff on him, and you know, but if it plays out right, he can gas you. But I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, big third down, you versus their best corner, go get it done. I still need to lean on 17 for that.
I'm sorry, 1 second. I just looked up and I just saw Joe Burrow looking like Cody Rhodes with blonde hair.
Eminem.
Hey, it's
Yeah, it
training
kind of
camp,
threw
baby.
you off.
It's training camp, baby. You know,
It
they do
threw
a little
me
something
off.
different, man.
Now
A little something different.
I remember Joe Cool saying, "I'm gonna make y'all remember me," but I didn't think the blonde, silver, whatever hair was gonna be how we remember him. Um, Great questions by everybody in the chat. We got those answered for you without me even asking. As soon as he was starting to go into it, I started putting them up. Keep the questions coming for sure. So my next question for everybody here is this: I want you to build that wide receiver room. All right. I want you to tell me. Let's say we're gonna have just our four. We'll keep it to four. Four wide receivers. All right. And if you could build your best wide receiver room, give me your four wide receivers that you would take. Now, it could be current or in the past. I'm gonna tell you what I would do. First off, there was this one little group that I used to love called the Posse. So I'm gonna take them four. I'm gonna take them three. And then my fourth person that I'm gonna put on the Posse is gonna be Tanner. Because he fits that whole thing. Because you had Gary Clark, who was a dog, you had Ricky Sanders, who was a burner, you had Art Monk, who was there for third downs and touchdowns, and then you give me Tanner, a young pup, to go with those three. Woo! That's my four right there. Anthony, I'm gonna come to you next. Say it. I know you plotting and planning over there. You coming out to Anthony, and then Al, you gonna finish it up for us.
Man, but top four, like I feel there's so many great players that you played. I've shared the field with. I think you got to throw like a Julio Jones in there. Julio and Calvin,
nice.
That'd just be big, mean, fast, athletic guys on the outside.
Strong.
Yeah, I would love to put I would put Steve Smith out there just because he is going to set that tone and create some mismatches in the middle. And then the other guy, I mean, I would say I want to put Marvin out there, but I got Calvin on one side, I got Julio on the other. Somebody on the inside. Let's bring Ocho Cinco. That way we at least get some touchdown celebrations. Give me some touchdown celebrations, man. We got to get some excitement out of these crew. Yo, Julio and Calvin gonna light it up. But
that was mine.
That's not even gonna be fair because I'm asking what safety is gonna guard Ocho. What safety? What line? That's not even fair.
None of that is fair. None of that is fair at all.
Yeah. Okay, Sid. Come on, let's get it.
Ah, man, you too. I mean, he's right though. He's right. If you want to build it, you know, you gotta have a speedster, and he's not an older guy. It doesn't seem like he's an older guy. He's actually been in the league for a while. You gotta give me Tyreek Hill. You give me Tyreek Hill in the slot. He's taking the top of everybody. Everybody's getting man to man at that point because you know he's Tyreek Hill. I mean, he has the ability to run past people. Give me I have so many. Ocho Cinco was one of mine that he pulled out of there. That you know, again, you know, the celebrations, you know, him going in, doing his celebration, doing his dance, you know what I'm saying? He gonna do his thing. Then I gotta come back again. Give me Bad Moon Rising. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
Always seemed to be open. Even when it covered, he seemed to be open. You know, wasn't the fastest, wasn't the tallest, you know, similar to Smith. He always seemed to be open. And my last one, I'm gonna go with somebody young because I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people. Well, no, not really. No, let's not use him. Give me Jameson Williams out of Detroit. People are having a hard time. They're having a hard time gauging his speed. Where he's, you know, he's still he's not real short, not real tall. He's in between, but those wheels are scaring everyone. So I got two Blazers. Then I got one guy who's gonna go across the middle no matter what. Hey, and I got Ocho Cinco ready to put the dance on him. You know, gonna out jump everybody. You know, we know he's gonna score the touchdown. You put it out there, he's gonna get it. So that's what I got.
Okay, Al.
Well, and I think you should be a little offended that Toothpick didn't put you in that posse, man, being a former Redskin, but I ain't gonna jump on that. He welcomed you on the show.
Hey,
of some all right wide receivers outside of Gary Clark and Monk Yeah, all right, but I mean, he could have made you number 4, but I'm gonna leave that alone right
I feel
now.
that.
Man, don't let this Cowboy fan down here offend you,
Well,
man.
you
Don't
know,
do
I'm
that.
gonna put a wide receiver on my squad.
Right.
If your nickname is the playmaker, then
Ah.
you a
That's
hell of a
about to be an
wide
all
receiver.
88. This is about to be an
No,
88
no,
crew.
I was gonna do an all 88
An
team.
all 88 squad.
I was gonna do an all 88, but I said, nah, I'm not. I don't want y'all. Y'all gonna hate on it, so y'all gonna be with no bias. So I had to put the playmaker on it because he gonna give me a little bit of everything. And then, like my man Anthony said, no wide receiver group is complete without Randy Moss.
Yes, I
I
was
mean,
waiting.
like I
was
said,
waiting.
and I feel it's, I think Jerry Rice is the best football player possibly ever to play. But I want to keep him because he's just so good. I mean, you can always put Jerry, but that's what not everybody's going to pick all the time. And I think people forget about, my man T.O. Man, T.O., all he did was prove and show and prove everywhere he went, man.
Yeah.
I mean, excluding Jerry, like I said, but you got T.O., and then I'm going to have a young cat that's going to learn from all these fellas. And I like my man JJ. Give me a little gritty walk and a little gold teeth and everything. And give me Justin Jefferson. Give me my $35 million a year and tell me I'm the baddest dog right now. I don't care who's throwing to me. Give me JJ. So that's my 4.
I like it. I like it. That was a fun exercise. Now listen, I'm gonna put this one up, right? But I think you cheated because you got 5 wide receivers here. My man said Calvin. He said AJ Green, Steve Smith, Deshaun Jackson. I said 4.
Yeah.
He got 4. He got 4. My bad. He got 4. I don't know what I was thinking about, but Alexander Wilson didn't finish his list. He said Torrey Hope has to be in the conversation here, and he said nobody's mentioned Larry Fitzgerald. Over 120 touchdowns. This is absolutely true, but you could have put him in your list, Alexander. This was the list for everybody. Give us your 4 wide receivers. So, you got 2 of them right there. So you gave me Torrey Holt, you gave me Larry Fitzgerald. Give me your other 2, and we will have your 4. This is an interactive thing right here, bro. This is interactive. This is what we want you to do.
Larry Fitzgerald, as great as he was, I think his longevity and consistency is what made him so great. I mean, like I said, I think he played in the Super Bowl and things, but Larry, not to take anything away from him, because he's almost like a Karl Malone of football, where he put up great numbers, all-time numbers. But like I said, but was all-time great, but never was. Like I said, maybe he got 1 or 2 All-Pros. I mean, like I said, in regards to that, but he has great numbers consistently over a long period of time. So I don't want to take nothing away from Larry Fitzgerald. I think he's an all-time great, and I actually saw him playing golf when we was down Pinehurst a couple of years ago. Man, got to meet him. Great guy, man. I mean, like I said, this real open, real kind man. He's a really good guy. So I understand what he's saying, but Larry Fitzgerald is an all-time great Hall of Famer, no doubt. But I think his thing is longevity and consistency.
I think this one of those ones you got to put it on that like $5, $4, $3, $2, and $1 type thing, and you only got like however much to spend. That right there will come up with a good top 4 receivers. I like that. I like that exercise.
That exercise is nice. Did you want to stick around for the rest of the show?
I got like a couple more questions, and I got to go before they come and drag me out of here.
Okay. All right. So let's move on to the roundabout. All right, we'll move on to the roundabout. So as y'all know, not a lot of people like the roundabout. However, it keeps the flow of traffic moving. So we are going to keep the show moving. We're about to get to our roundabout. So our roundabout question today is: LeBron James saves Team USA again. This time they were playing Germany. We saw what they did versus South Sudan. My question is this Team USA basketball team, men's basketball team, are they ready for the Olympics?
How long they got till they got a tip off in the Olympics?
Like a week.
I think they have about a week.
They better come on. They better come on, because the thing is it's just like when Tyson got beat, people started to be like, oh, okay, so it is possible. Right. And now you're starting to see teams are going to show up. They know it's Team USA. They want to bring their best. It's their Super Bowl, in a sense. It's their, it's their gold medal game, and you're going up against the Team USA. So the scary thing is that they could get caught slipping out there, but until they show me that, like, I think, hey, they're the best in the world for a reason, but I'm not for this little snipping by barely. This ain't the final 17, 20 games of the NBA season. Blow these teams out and get on the same page, and let's make this nice and easy.
Yeah, I think that they are missing Kevin Durant. I think they're missing Kevin Durant in a big way, and I'm not sure. They said Kevin Durant, coach doesn't want to put Kevin out there until he has a little bit of competition, has some banging on his body and things like that. So that'll happen in practice. So I think we won't see him in the first round of group play. Not in the first game of group play. I think they want to get him some practice with the team, and then I think you'll see Kevin Durant. Plus, Joel Embiid is not doing such a great job. Like, you have shooters on the floor. Joel Embiid has all the space in the world. He should be dunking and have layups. He should be 100%. Remember when Shaq first came in the league and the only thing he did was dunked on people? That's exactly what Joel Embiid should be doing, and making teams collapse on him so then they can kick it out to the shooters. But he's not doing that. He's settling for fadeaways, and he's not doing that. Say, how you feel about this, man?
Yeah, I only caught the end of the game. But this is the second game in a row that they've had to make a run late, to show up late and win the game. It's only a warm-up game, but that's not the point. Just like Anthony said, this is the world championship game that some of these teams is playing in the United States. Everybody wants to beat them because they set the plateau so high. Mm-hmm. So at this point, when we're knocking off the U.S., okay, well, they win another game, they really don't care. They just knocked off the United States. And that's how they feel. So they're going to have to come out 20 guys early, beat them down early. Then they do want to coast in the second half, they can coast, but they got to jump on early, make them feel like they have no hope in these games. And until then, no. But it goes back to what I said the other day. Remember now, a lot of these players are playing in the NBA.
Yep.
They're going back to their home teams. This is what we do during practice. This is how we do it. This is what they're teaching us. So not only are they playing overseas now, they have some of the seasoning of what's going on in the NBA that they're taking back with them. So they have an idea of how these teams crash, how they're being coached, how they're playing defense. Only way to beat that is show up and show out.
Yeah. Al, hold on before you give me your answer. I know you got to roll, Anthony. Here is Alexander Wilson's list right here. He says, my list is Moss, Torrey Holt, Larry Fitzgerald, and Megatron. I got to say, that is a nasty list. That is a nasty list right there.
Very nice.
Yeah. That's a really, really good list.
Everybody open. Just everybody run around open. Take your pick. Close your eyes.
Quarterback's dream.
You can just draw it up in the dirt on that one right there. You're like, listen, hold on. You go over here. You don't even. God, that's a nasty list. That's a good one right there, Alexander. I appreciate that.
Let me ask you one real quick. He just made me think about something. Wait. After you answer your question about yours, let me ask Anthony a question. Right? He just made me think about something.
Okay. You want to go now, or you want to go and go?
Go ahead.
Oh, no.
Do you? Hold on. Papa talking. Real quick. Do you think that with the way these other teams, other sports, their favorite teams are trying to play together, do you think at one point these players, wide receivers, running backs, are going to go? They're not going to go because of the money. They're going to go because they want to play with their best friends. Like a lot of NBA and football teams, other sports are doing that.
The difference is that in the NBA, one, the contracts are so high and they make so much money and it's guaranteed that they can basically say, I don't want to play with you. I want to play in this specific team, and then y'all figure it out, right? They can do that. In the NFL, not everybody is in that position to be like, I want to go play with with Jaden Daniels, and they be like, all right, well, we'll cut you. That don't mean they want you. You know what I mean? So it's got to take two to tango. Now, when you're an all-pro player like Brandon Ayuk or somebody that's, got high value in the league, they can make that determination. But I mean, you think about Alan Lazard going up to the Jets. That didn't work out too well. right? And they handpicked Buddy and shoot that was like $40 million down the drain, and they already talking about trying to get Devontae out there and with the Jets too. So that'd be a cold combo. Devontae and Garrett Wilson would be a different. You got to put them in that top 5 combo list too.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, man, I think people would like to, but the NFL, it doesn't really bode well to try to pick what team you want to go to.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Al.
Going back on basketball right now?
Back on basketball.
Okay. I'm kind of mixed on this one a little bit because I think it's good to have a little bit of testing games, but I think the rest of the world and cut the lights on and realize the boogeyman ain't real. I mean, like I said, they see that they play, like said, they play with these guys all year round, and they're not scared. In '92, it was a fanfare. They wanted more autographs than they did buckets when they played Dream Team '92. Now they see these guys, man, through different summer leagues, through different G leagues and everything, and they cross mingle so much, and the talent pool overall has gotten so much better over the course, especially international. You think of the top 5 or top 10 NBA players throughout the league during the season, shoot, 6 of them might be international guys. From, like I said, from Joker to the boy in Dallas. I can't think of his name right now.
Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Mavericks.
Giannis. I mean, even Joel Embiid, which is American, but he's from Cameroon. I mean, and like I said, Shea Gilchrist, he's a Canadian. All the top 10, 6, 7 of them are international players for real. So I mean, when you have that, and that wasn't so 20 years ago or 30 years ago when the Dream Team was formed. So I mean, the rest of the world has gotten better. They've caught up. We've pulled them, and we reached back and pulled them. So I'm not as surprised. I think it's a surprise to a lot of people because they expect Olympics and they see all these all-stars. But like I said, the gap between an all-star and a good NBA player has closed. And it's not, especially for the international player, these are borderline. Some of these guys played a couple years in the league, played in the G Leagues. Like I said, the shock factor is not there. So and this is an audition for them when they're playing against these guys. You got to remember that too. KD and them ain't auditioning; their contract's set. But these guys, like the guy from the point guard from South Sudan, they talk about he should get an NBA contract now. Again, he was in the G League MVP. So I mean, these guys are playing for more, but like I said, the gap has shrunk as well. So it's a big thing, but it's good for them. But they better bring home that goal when all that's being said and done. They better do that.
Yeah. Anthony, we'd like to say thank you for sticking around for our roundabout and answering a lot of our wide receiver questions. We really do appreciate you. We look forward to bringing you back during the football season. We will link up so we can make sure schedules match up and things like that.
Yes, absolutely. Appreciate y'all having me. Check out the Believe in Commanders podcast too, man. Check us out over there.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely.
Believe in Commanders.
He'll put you in that 4th wide receiver spot too, Anthony.
Come on, Pick. Help me out, man.
I got you, man.
Put me on practice squad at least. Dang.
Oh no. You was absolutely in the room. You was absolutely in the room, but the room is usually 6,
Yeah.
So yeah, you was there.
I'd be in there. I appreciate it. Y'all be good.
Thank you too, man. Good luck with everything in the podcast this year too, man.
Appreciate it, man. Y'all be good.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, thanks. That was Anthony Armstrong, former wide receiver in the NFL. Played many years. Do check out his podcast. He brings great insight into the NFL, what it's like to play in the NFL and things like that. So please go check out his podcast as well. And he is a friend of the program for sure.
Real good guy. Real good insight, man. Definitely, man.
Yeah, absolutely, for real. All right. So we're in the roundabout, right? And in the roundabout, we're going to talk about one more thing. We're going to talk about a person that Al cannot absolutely not hate on, that wore the burgundy and gold.
The one guy I will give y'all his props every time, man. He's absolutely Go ahead. Darryl Green do the introduction.
Darryl Green is going to have his jersey number retired, the number 28, versus the Carolina Panthers this year at home, right? That's not what I really want to talk about. This is the roundabout. Yes, Darryl Green is a Hall of Famer. Yes, he's getting his jersey number retired. My question to y'all is, what should the order be? Because a lot of NFL teams do it differently, right? When they have a player retire, they have a debate about, is this person Ring of Honor worthy? Are we removing his number? And then next thing you know, that person's up for the Hall of Fame. If you look at New England, anyone that they induct into their Ring of Honor the following year, if they're up for the Hall of Fame, ding, 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 they're there. So my team, the Washington Redskins, the football team, the Commanders, we don't have a Ring of Honor. Right now, we only have 2 numbers that are retired. Sonny Jurgensen and Sean Taylor. Darrell Green is going to be the 3rd number retired. We have numbers that can't be worn, and we wonder why we can't get Brian Mitchell into the Hall of Fame. What should be the order in which you do this? Because everyone does it a little differently.
If help me if I'm wrong. I thought you all do have a ring, some type of ring in the stadium that has names, of course, right?
Yeah, that was like RFK.
Okay, really? It's been that long?
That was like RFK.
A lot of guys. I know Sonny's there. Who else?
The names that you see around there are carried over from RFK. Bobby Mitchell's number was retired. Bobby Mitchell's number. Yeah, you're right. So he would be the 4th. Let me check. Fact check myself real quick.
But there's no doubt that DG, Darrell Green.
All right. So what do you guys think? Is there an order that you should do this in?
Wow. Sid, you go first, man. You always add good insight to it. You go first with this one, Sid. I'm still thinking about this order.
Well, I mean, it's just one of them things. It all depends on what they've done. You know, it all depends on what they've done in the career. How should they do it? I mean, should they wait till they're nominated for the Hall, or should they do the Ring of Honor early? It all depends on what they did for the organization. You know, what did they do for organization while there? How did they produce? You know, how did they bring them up? You know, and go from there. Now, if you know you don't want a cup of chips, you know, you don't been the MVP throughout the year, then it's obvious, you know, whether you make it to the Hall or not, we're gonna put you in our Hall of Fame, in our ring, you know, because of what you've done. I mean, just like they did, they just put Matt Ryan in the other day, you know, because Matt Ryan set records for, you know, the Falcons at quarterback. You know, he set those records, you know. So, you know, even before, you know, he's going to get a nod from the Hall, he's going to go into the Ring of Honor. You can't take those away. Yeah, he didn't win the Super Bowl, but you can't take away. No, it's like Dan Marino. You can't take away Dan Marino's numbers. He never won a championship. You can't take away his numbers. You know, he's in the Ring of Honor in Miami, and then he got the jacket. So, you know, that's how, I mean, that's probably how it should go. It all depends on what they did for what did they do for their team, you know, because if they're worthy enough for the team first, then the Hall is going to 9 times 10 the Hall is going to be looking at. Don't get me wrong, the Hall, they make mistakes like do everybody else. They're human.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that. You know
also, if you put a person in the Ring of Honor too, you don't have to retire their number. And absolutely, Bobby Mitchell's number is retired. So it's 4 numbers that the Commanders have. Commanders Redskins football team have retired. Sonny Jurgensen's number 9, Bobby Mitchell's number 49, Sammy Ball's number 33, and Sean Taylor's number 21. Those numbers are never going to be worn again by anyone that plays for. Okay, Sonny's jersey just got retired. And Darrell Green, that was last year. No, I was at the game, so that was 2 years ago that Sonny's number 9 got retired. Darrell Green jersey number 28 will be retired this year. So that's 5 numbers that will never be worn again by anyone that was Commanders. Okay, Al, go ahead, answer that question. How should it be?
I makes more sense. I'm glad I got a chance to think about it, because I think it should be a tiered system. I think you got, especially like, I mean, I'll give you an example. Darrell Green's an all-time great football player. Let's say that first and foremost. Whether like I said, Redskin or just football player, he's a first ballot, Hall of Famer, Yellow Jacket, period. But then you got all-time Redskins, like a London Fletcher, to say, who I think was one of your best linebackers you ever had there. May not be a Hall of Famer, but he's an all-time Redskin for his impact on your team. Sean Taylor, not a Hall of Famer, but like I said, for the sentimental value, was definitely destined to be one, I thought. But like I said, so it's a tiered system. I don't think I think it's based on what the impact that he's had on your team and your community and that franchise, should I say? So I mean, you have your first ballot Hall of Fame guys, yeah, and even like a guy like Joe Jacoby, who's not in the Hall of Fame, should be in the Hall of Fame, I feel, but is an all-time Redskin and should be in your Ring of Honor or whatever it may be. There's another guy, all-time Redskin, Art Monk. Took his time. Art Monk, he's another guy. He's a Hall of Famer, I believe, right? Art's in the Hall
Yes,
of Fame.
he is. Yes, he's a Hall of Fame. Him and Daryl went in the same year.
And he should be in your Ring of Honor. So I think it's a tier system. And then you have that whole retired number thing. That is the upper echelon. Because one, you ain't got but 100 numbers to begin with, that you can even have. And like I said, throughout the history. So I mean, that's a big thing. But that should be left to the very, very select few. That's why you said it's only 4 numbers retired. So I mean,
I got one better for you, and this is new. This is new, right? This is the new thing, and people may get mad at it, right? But the statue, that's real. The statue, if let's say, because you already said it, the numbers, you only have 100, and that's going from 0 to 99. You got 100 numbers that you can use, right? And if you think that you will wind up running out of numbers, right? I mean, the NFL can change the numbers that you could wear specific places and things like that all the time, right? Now wide receivers can wear 1 through 19 or 0 through 19, and then back into the 80s from 80 to 89, right? And then so they can change things around. But if you add that statue situation, just think of like this: what's the Yankees the Yankees, right? Yankee Stadium, where they have the bust of their most important players, right? Now the fans get to go through there and see those players and what they meant to that team, right? So I would say a Ring of Fame, and then if they're even more important to the team and they did so much for the team, the community, and things like that, and they represented your team in the best possible way, then you give them a statue, right? So not only am I in your Ring of Fame, I also have a statue in the stadium, right, where the fans can come see me forever. I'm behind glass, and so what's next is my bust in the Hall of Fame.
But I think that's kind of the equivalent of your statues in your like I said, in your basketball arenas, which are a lot smaller. So it's easier to put those things, the statues out front and things. I think when you retire a player's number, that is almost statuesque in your celebration of them, because you're saying no one else in this franchise history will wear that number. And like you said, with the restrictions on what position can wear what numbers, you have to be selective. You can't have 20 retired numbers. You know what I'm saying?
You can't.
So when you have a retired number, that is, like I said, statuesque in their celebration of you in that particular franchise. So that's why I said I have no problem with number 28 being retired. I think it should be. I think it's long overdue. I think he's by far. I think Daryl got with 2 Super Bowls. I think with you all.
No, Daryl was there for all of them.
All 3 of them. Okay, he was 90, 92, and 90. What was y'all? 89, 91, and 92, or something like that. But but like I said, I mean, come on. He is, even in the community to this day, he's like Mr. Redskin. I mean, like I said, you know what I'm saying? You still see him on commercials doing different fundraising, not fundraising, but different sponsorships or appearing at different places, tournaments and different commemorative places, because he is what everyone knows, the little guy, but he has a big stature in this community and in this area for being one of the all-time favorite Redskins, because you will always see a number 28 jersey in that fed up stadium of y'all's over there, wherever it is. So like I said, so that's I think that's long overdue. And like I said, that's the highest. I think the highest honor you can give a player like him.
I was wrong. Daryl, 7-time Pro Bowler, 2
Yeah, I thought it was
two Super Bowl rings, 87 and 91. He was drafted in 83, which is I don't understand how he missed the other Super Bowl. I don't. That math.
You all won in 91 and 8 and what 80? What was it? I had one before that.
91, 87, and I hope it wasn't 82. Give me a second. I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah, I think he came right after y'all won that first Super Bowl. I think he is a 2-time Super Bowl. Says you supposed to be the fat guy, man. You supposed to be the fat guy with all this information.
Hey, I follow Washington, but I don't follow Washington that close.
You should, man. I wouldn't. That hurt you. That definitely hurt
you.
It's
82.
82. So he came right after the first Super Bowl. That's why I thought it was 2.
I don't follow Washington that close.
Yeah, I thought it was 2.
It's 82, which was actually 83, which is why it was throwing me off.
Alexander Wood, Joe Theismann should never have his number retired. Why would Joe Theismann have his number retired? Come on, man. Why?
That's a question for Doc Walker. That's a Doc Walker
question. Does Doc feel that Joe's number?
Doc will tell you that's his quarterback.
That's his quarterback. He sound like T.O. That's my quarterback. He gonna cry too? Come on, man.
Doc ain't gonna cry,
man.
Joe Theismann, tell you that's my quarterback.
He does. Oh my goodness, man. Well, go ahead and retire Mark Rippons too. Why don't you do that too, man? He had better numbers. He played on the best Redskin team.
The best Redskin team.
Was that 92
91 team.
91
possibly the best Super Bowl team. Possibly the best Super Bowl team.
Let's see. Now you're going too far.
That 91 team.
I will give him a top 10 all time. I give him a top 10 Super Bowl team of all time by far. That's the best I'll give him.
He said Joe won an MVP. He said Joe won an MVP. He said
so did Lamar Jackson.
He said Joe won an MVP.
He won 2. Yeah, come on, man. Come on.
Well,
stop this stuff, man. Stop this, man. Tell him stop it, please. So did Matt Ryan. Tell him, Sid. So did Matt Ryan won MVP too. Anybody looking to send him anywhere?
Don, I got it. I figured it out. He got drafted. Yeah. He got drafted after that Super Bowl. Sid, it's big box time, which means it's time to do one thing. Rep your squad. So Rep Your Squad is where we give you news and notes about our squads that you may not know just as of yet. Say it. Go ahead, Rep Your Squad.
We're gonna start with the best team in Georgia, University of Georgia. Them boys have absolutely gone out and recruited a line of lines.
Mm.
They have a set of offensive linemen coming in, everybody at least 6'7". And they're punchers, they're aggressive, which is what we like to see. So I don't expect Carson Beck to get touched too much this year throughout the year, so he can get out here and start getting his MVP numbers together. So he gonna be one of the top picks in next year's draft. Defensively, them boys are bringing in 5 stars, man. They reloading, and the head coach model is we don't wish to get the championship. We go ahead and win them. That's what we do. That's what we're supposed to do every day. That's the standard for us now, is championship. That's what I like to hear, man. That's what I'm talking about. Now, as I move over to these Atlanta Falcons.
Somebody got signed today.
I'm gonna roll over to Atlanta Falcons. I've been at work all day, had a chance to get any updates. They're trying to adjust the offensive line.
Y'all bought an offensive tackle.
They're trying. Because they see that if you don't fix the offensive line, I don't care how good the quarterback is, he's going down. If he goes down, he can get rid of the ball. I said this already, that Kyle Pitts looked like he's the Kyle Pitts from when he came out of University of Florida. Needs better. He's cutting. He's running. He's doing his thing. But what we need, though, we got to have a speed to take the top off to give everybody a chance. We got a few possession receivers. That's what Drake London is. He's not a speedster, not going to run past anybody. He's a possession receiver. He get his area, he'll get the ball, he'll hold on to it. Okay, 9 times out of 10, he'll hold on to it. We're gonna leave it at that. Because he dropped the crucial touchdown last year. I'm not letting it go. I don't care what nobody says. I'm not letting it go. It is what it is. Now we move over to the Braves. Man, we've taken everybody's shot this year. They went on a run. They won about 10, 12 in a row. They lost like the last 4 out of 5. and they just lost to the Reds yesterday, and they're playing another game. They lost the last 2 games against the Reds. They're playing again tonight. We need these boys to get in gear. It's after All-Star game. We need to pick it up so we can get into the playoffs, and then we can do some things in the playoffs. So with that being said, I have ripped all my squads.
Yeah, you repped them all. Al, looks like you're in the big box. Time to rep your
Oh
squad.
my goodness, man! I'm gonna keep this simple. I may get a couple fines, but I'm glad Lady A isn't here.
She's always watching.
The first thing I'm going to say is, man, congratulations to my man Jared Jones for settling his last and latest paternity suit. This is why I know he's a man of the people, and
Jerry Jones been rich for a long
he's
time.
a man that why all his former players love him because he was out there hoeing just like them.
So he settled.
He settled the case. He denied it forever.
I know
he has settled the case.
Oh, I didn't know he settled.
He settled the case. I put it on the thread. He has settled the paternity suit against the girl for undisclosed amount. So he can get back to not signing that. That's what I want him to do. Not signing that. As my man would say, Dakota Rain Prescott, do not sign that, please. And please, man, make him. I know we got $40 million on the books next year of dead money. If he's down on the books, but we got a chance to recoup that. Do not make the mistake. Usually you pay the quarterback first, but we've already paid this guy. And we do not want to have to be locked into this guy for the next 3 or 4 years. So we should give CD his money, get ready to sign Micah, make Dak prove it for the $55 million he's going to get paid this year. And if he proves it, the salary cap will increase again in another couple of years. So we'll be able to recoup some of that. And then we sign Dak. But Dak has to at least get to a NFC championship game, a place we haven't been in over almost 30 years. I believe it's 28 to be exact. So that's on the Cowboys. On other things, we're starting camp. Like it's the very thing out in Oxnard. I'm very excited about that. I hope a successful camp. I'm sure Dak and everybody will be there. My other squads, like I said, the best Division One FCS program in the nation. William & Mary is starting camp in another couple of days. I wish them all the well for a very, very great season for Coach Mike London and the boys. They ain't Georgia, but we the Georgia of FCS. How about that, man? We ain't as big as Georgia, but we Georgia FCS.
I get that.
Okay, we can get there. The Nationals, the Orioles are doing very well. The Nationals suck, but like I said,
but the Nationals on a win streak right now. They're on a winning streak right
now.
Man,
it's hard to be on a win streak and you're still in the 500. Man, I don't want to get to 500 before you want any recollection of doing something good, especially in a division where you have the Braves and the Phillies. Come on, man.
It's true.
Okay.
It's true.
So, yeah. Now, I used to be a Brave fan, so I was one of those a long time, but I got to rep my area squad since I don't rep them Commanders. And I'll save that for picks. So that's all I got to rep my squad, man. I'm glad my man settled and we can get back to football.
Yeah, that was the funniest thing I read all day. I said, Jerry been rich for a long, long time.
Yes, he has.
Time for me to rep my squad. Okay, so listen, y'all know I'm a Commanders fan. And the best thing that I heard all day was Dan Quinn say that he wants Jaden Daniels to earn his spot as the number 1 quarterback. Yes, we're probably headed there, but we're not there yet. He will know, just like everybody else will know, when we're there. He said he has to earn that spot. And when you're talking about competition as a head coach, and then you don't have a competition like Ron Rivera did, and I know that's your guy. Like Ron Rivera did, yeah, we're going to have an open competition for quarterback and we just give it to somebody. That trickles down throughout the whole team. But when you see your quarterback has to go out there and earn it, especially his rookie year, that sets another tone. So I know everybody heard that already. It's supposed to be news and notes that you guys didn't hear, right? Well, I got some of those too. So one thing that you guys haven't heard about as far as the Commanders go is maybe Dump Truck Don may have heard about it. Maybe he may have heard about it, but some of these players coming in this year, such as a person that wears number 2 his number was given to someone else, right? That person, if they don't shine, like we all know, two could stand for deuces. You're gone. And y'all know who I'm talking about. Talk about De'Ami Brown right there, ladies and gentlemen. Uh, he's been put on notice. You know, hey, this is your training camp to step up and show us what you got. And if you don't, De'Ami, you could be gone one way or another. Another thing, I think this last one is pretty much um, the Wizards. The Wizards. They're young 18-year-old who just turned 19, led their team in scoring this year. I think they're going to slow play him. From what I'm hearing, they're going to slow play him up to the NBA roster. But when they bring him up, that point guard situation will be rectified. Your young man, he has a shot from behind the arc. He can handle the ball. They want him to get a little bit better as far as when it comes to handling the ball and things of that nature. But they're already looking at their point guard being settled, especially with what he showed in the G League, and they just want to give him some more experience and get him ready for this NBA level. So that's me repping the two squads I love today. Back to the other box. There we go. Back to the other box. And our last bit right here that we have before we get off of here is open mic. And when we go open mic, that's news and notes that we may have missed already. So I'm going to kick this one off. So everybody's heard that the league is in talks with the NFL and NFLPA. They're in talks of going to an 18-game season. So a little something that Doc and our guy, the Rooster, talked to our guy from SiriusXM Radio today, said, don't think it's going to stop at 18. They want it to go to 20. They want the NFL calendar season to be year round. Now, that's not playing games all year. We have a little bit of time right here where players are away from their family. We talked to Julius about it before he headed back up to Tennessee's training camp, where you have about 6 weeks. You're still working out and things like that. But they want this thing to stretch out. They want that President's Day weekend, which means that for all intents and purposes, that every Super Bowl is literally going to be played in warm weather cities. There will be no more New York. There'll be no more Minnesotas, nothing like that, unless the league absolutely comes up with the way that they can assure that there's going to be no ice storms during those type things during the Super Bowl, because Minnesota has a great setup and things like that, but that weather in February is which is where they want the calendar league to go to. It is not conducive for teams up north, no matter if you got a dome on that stadium or not. You still got to get everybody up there, and they got to have a way to, function around everything that the league puts up. So, what do you got? Anybody else got anything for open mic?
No, man, we don't do religion. We don't do religion. We don't do politics, man. So, like I said, we just keep it simple, baby.
All right. Well, listen, I hope that you guys enjoyed the show today. Anthony Armstrong brought it. We really do appreciate him bringing all of his insight as far as wide receivers go. And it was fun. It was a fun exercise we had today with building wide receiver rooms and what it takes to make a good wide receiver. So our next show will be Saturday, where we will have our guy, Jesse from Burgundy and Gold podcast on with us. We'll get to chop it up with him. And then next Tuesday, let's see who we got next Tuesday. Say who we got next Tuesday, man. I don't. Next Tuesday, we have Lake Lewis Jr. from the After Practice podcast, and Lake Lewis is one of those beat reporters for the Commanders. So we'll have him on, and that should be after a padded practice, because it's back to football weekend. You can get in the pads after your first day off. And so we have him on next Tuesday, July 30th, and he'll give us news and notes from training camp. So make sure you guys check in with us on Saturday when we have Jesse from the Burgundy and Gold, and on Tuesday where we have Lake Lewis Jr. coming and bringing us all the news and notes from the Commanders. And we will continue to bring you guys our best Thank you all for watching. Said, did we cover everything, man?
Yep. Got it all.
We got it all. We knocked it out the park, right? Cool.
Yep.
All right. Said, listen. Shouts out to my son, United States Air Force, First Stream Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Tell him, Said.
Go Dogs.
Hell.
Artlist.io